Hello, guys, and welcome to the Bad Bookers Wrestling Podcast. I am Smoothman. Here back again, just reviewing tonight's second night of the WWE UK Championship Tournament, or UK NXT. It's a great night, absolutely great night. I am so excited for the new brand. Extremely lucky to be a British wrestling fan at the age that I am, where I've grown up with wrestling all my life, and now seeing this is just ridiculous. I can't control myself. We'll talk about the matches in a minute, but again, it just showcases all the talent that the UK is bringing through at the moment. The guys who were there last night, some of the ladies who were there last night, just very, very good. I can't really complain. It was very good. So they started the night with, obviously, the usual promo package. We had a bit of introduction into kind of what was coming up, the big title match or title matches that we were having. And they started with the one that everybody knew about, the spoiler. I think if you were there live, it would have been very good to see that kind of win so early in the night, get the crowd going, and it really did get them going. So it was Undisputed Era, Kyle O'Reilly and Roderick Strong, who came out against Mustache Mountain. So Tyler Bate, Trent Seven. They're great heel work all the way through by Undisputed Era, even though they were getting probably booed more than you'd expect them to in the UK. But they were still getting cheered at the same time. It was a bit odd. They did a lot of mocking of the mustache, kind of let's do the twizzle, which was good. Trent Seven did like a fake out for his DDT. I think he did it last night, but I didn't really notice it. But tonight it looked really cool. So he goes for he looks like he's going to go for a clothesline. And obviously the person ducks. And then as he ducks, he gets them in a DDT and just snaps them down. That's pretty cool. Tyler Bate then did a spot where he picked up Roderick Strong on his, while he had Kyle O'Reilly on his back. So Kyle O'Reilly's got him in like a stranglehold. Strong was then picked up by Bate into like a kind of, I don't know what you call it, some sort of powerbomb pickup place. No, it wasn't. It was a German suplex. So both men were on him, and he's just picked him up and just done a German suplex with both men. It just shows great strength from the little guy. We then had the referee being probably the best person in this match. He was trying to run around to get. There was a lot of commotion in the corner, and they were going for a pin, and all of a sudden you just see the ref just fly through the air and land and just start pinning and do the pin attempt. It was brilliant. Good work, Drake Wirtz. Best referee in the business, in my opinion. Where do we get to next? Even though this was a spoil for me, I still enjoyed it. And the fact that the pop when Mustache Mountain won was deafening, I think, showed how good of a swerve that was. They then celebrated in the crowd. We then had the triple threat match, which was then announced, and this was for the number one contender for the UK title after tonight, by the looks of it. So when they start the UK brand, or whether they do it on NXT within the next few weeks, I doubt it, but with this new brand coming up over the next few months for recordings, I think that's where it's going to be. So that was announced to be Travis Banks, Flash Morgan Webster, and Mark Andrews. In my opinion, I was hoping it was going to be Travis or Flash. We'll get to that in a minute, because after the announcement from Johnny Saint, we had Killer Kelly versus Charlie Morgan. Quite a short match. It was nice to see a bit more ring time for Killer Kelly. I've never seen Charlie Morgan, so I didn't know a lot about. She didn't get a lot of offense in. She was kind of defensive all the way through. Killer Kelly was doing a lot of offense, and in the end, somehow lost to Charlie Morgan because of what looked like a roll-up pin where she trapped her legs and did everything to make sure that she couldn't kick out, which was good. She did do a little nice kind of springboard off the rope, which I retweeted on the Twitter. It looked pretty nice. But other than that, she didn't really show off a lot. I believe she's from Cambridge, so from round where I live. So Morgan won without really doing a lot and being dominated. The roll-up is something I've probably never seen before, where she hooks the legs. And from what I saw of Killer Kelly on both nights, she was pretty good too. We then we saw Christian. Christian turned up. Why not? No 5-second poses though. Nigel McGuinness was trying to pretend to be Adam Cole and ruined it. Less said about that, the better. We then had the actual 3-way match, which was announced earlier in the night. We had a big return. Noam Dar is back, everybody. He just came out of nowhere. Johnny Saint came out and said, look, I'm going to change this match. I'm just going to do it. I'm the general manager, I do what I like. And said, here's the Fatal 4-Way competitor. Here's the new one. Noam Dar's music hit. I didn't remember what his music sounded like. So I was like, who's this? And then all of a sudden I saw Supernova and just went mental. I think he's been out injured a lot recently for a good amount of time as well. It's not as if he's just had a small injury. He's been out for a long time. So he turned Mark Andrews, Travis Banks, Flash Morgan Webster into a Fatal 4-Way with Noam Dar. Andrews did his usual. He got a lot of flippy, jumpy, high-risk stuff. He did his corkscrew to the outside, which it looked nice, but the people outside the ring took a long time to wait for him. They were literally stood there just going. And then he did it, and he was like, well, that was a bit of a long wait. I just couldn't keep up with the match. It was very quick. Fatal 4-Ways, multi-man matches are always very quick, especially if you've got people in it like Mark Andrews. His backward Hurricane thing to their heads is nasty. It looks horrible. I forgot how horrible it looked. There was a nice little bit in this match as well where there was a sequence where there was a lot of people trying to get attempts in to win. So there's a bit where Mark Andrews was about to tap to Noam Dar's knee bar, I think, and he was literally about to drop his hand, and Flash Morgan Webster just came in and put his hand underneath and stopped him from doing it. I don't think I've ever seen that in a wrestling match, if ever. If it has happened, it's a long time because I don't remember it. I thought it was very clever. I thought it was clever storytelling in terms of the match. Unfortunately, the people who I wanted to win, Travis Banks or Flash Morgan Webster, didn't. Noam Dar won out of everything. I think this is his time to flourish. I think he hasn't done a lot in NXT. He didn't do a lot with the cruiserweights in the cruiserweight division. I think this will be his time to shine, and hopefully a match against Pete Dunne will elevate him a little bit. But the match didn't, that segment didn't finish there. We had the Coffee Brothers turn up. So Joe yesterday did his heelish thing by attacking after the match. He then did it again last night, but with his brother. They caused havoc, destroyed Andrews, Travis Banks. I think if they get the tag titles up and running at the NXT brand for the UK, they've got to have them. They have to, because they are very, very good. I then noticed something middle of the night. Apparently, Pete Dunne now has side plates. He's been champion for 400 odd days, I think, and he's finally got some side plates on his belt, which made me think he's going to lose it. But we'll get to that in a minute. Wolfgang and Adam Cole for the North American Championship. I knew this was going to be an Adam Cole match. Win. Wolfgang was the bad guy in all of this. The crowd really didn't like Wolfgang. They really got behind Adam Cole. Adam Cole is probably the most over man in wrestling at the moment. He's so over. I think he's nearly as over as Braun Strowman, if not more. And that's saying something from a person who's in NXT. It just shows you whatever Triple H is doing with NXT is just flourishing. And we keep saying it in the wrestling community. He needs to take over the company fast and just let him do what he does with NXT, 205 Live, etc. During Adam Cole's entrance, Wolfgang he mocked the Undisputed Era, so I can't do it because that one, obviously not as good as they do it, but he did that, and then Wolfgang was giving him, thought it was funny. We then got into the match. Adam Cole was outside the ring at one point and did a massive high kick from the floor to pretty much nearly the top rope where Wolfgang was stood. And I had no idea how he'd done it. It's just incredible athleticism. Cole won as predicted. Wolfgang got quite a lot of offense in, worked quite heavily on his back. I think that kind of moved on from what happened when he was in the ladder match a couple of months back, where he did his back from the ladder match. But Wolfgang, like I said, he just got absolutely destroyed by the crowd. They didn't like him. They booed him. And then eventually he lost, where Adam Cole had 4 attempts of doing Adam Cole Bay, and everybody was doing it. And the last time it was just a thing of beauty. It was very nice and just shows how much Adam Cole he's over with every wrestling fan in the world at the moment. Moving on after that, we had the tag team match, which was mainly all NXT. So it was the Velveteen Dream and EC3 versus Aleister Black and Ricochet. The entrances took forever, but it was very, very well done. Velveteen Dream is obviously oozing charisma. He literally came to the ring doing his usual. He laid on the barrier at one point, like he did at NXT TakeOver, where he laid on the announce table. EC3 came out. Obviously, Aleister Black and Ricochet's entrances are relatively longer than usual. And there was a point where they were both Aleister Black were in the ring with Ricochet, and Velveteen Dream's laying on the barrier, and EC3's just sat on the floor on the outside, just meditating, doing this with his fingers, like 3 with his fingers. It was funny as anything. I've never seen a match where it's ridiculous, but I'm so invested in these wrestlers. They were chanting "This is awesome" before it even started, which I don't like. Let them wrestle, then do it. Because by the time it was the end of the match, it was an awesome match. It was very good. And they are very good workers. I saw a tweet that while I was tweeting myself, that someone said, if you want to know who the future of the WWE is, look in the ring right now with those 4 guys. Velveteen Dream has already been dubbed by John Cena as the best at the moment. So you're going to see it. You're going to see these a lot, hopefully, in the future. There's a moment where the Velveteen Dream was about to jump from the top rope during the match to the outside to Ricochet. He raised his arms as if he was going to do his usual elbow drop or whatever he was going to do, and then just jumped down from the top rope and just did that and went, nah, not doing it, which is just what he does. He's very good at. There was a bit in the match where there was a missed tag by the ref, and the crowd just went mental and started chanting VAR, which if you're a football fan and watching the World Cup at the moment, VAR is a very hot topic. So I really enjoyed that. I think it's the most British thing ever to chant VAR at a wrestling match. So the match overall was very slow to start with. It was very in the ring and in out. Velveteen Dream at one point was wearing his shirt and was like waiting. He was stood in the match ready to start with Ricochet, and he was just about to start the match. And then all of a sudden, he stopped and went, "No, I want you." Pointed at Aleister Black, took his shirt off, had an Aleister Black t-shirt underneath. Just shows the continuity. Like, we don't forget what's happened in previous takeovers. Build of storylines go on for months and months, which is good. And showed that they had a feud before and they were going to do something here again. Dream just has a beautiful spine buster. He did that again. It looks absolutely amazing. It's the best spine buster since probably Arn Anderson. It's very, very good. There was then a super kick, which was then into an inverted brainbuster by Velveteen Dream, with EC3 doing the brainbuster, which was horrible because it was straight onto the mat. And I think every move that the Velveteen Dream does at the moment is just very, very nice. Towards the end of the match, it looked like EC3 and Velveteen Dream were going to win. There was a little bit of an injury spot earlier on, which leads into this ending, which I didn't really notice. Apparently, EC3 was trying to grab the rope while Velveteen Dream was on the top rope, and it made him fall off, hurting his knee, something like that. And then EC3 was going for a tag towards the end of the match, and Velveteen Dream stopped and walked off towards the edge, towards the entrance, got off the apron and walked off. EC3's obviously stood in the ring going, "What are you doing? Why are you leaving me here? Go and then leave." While this is all happening, Aleister Black is stood in the ring, waiting and waiting and waiting. And EC3 knew it was coming. He just stood there, and the crowd started going, "Look behind you," chanting that. He turned around and pretty much just took a black mass to the face and lost the match. There was attempted ending with Ricochet holding the title, giving it back to Black. Is that going to start a feud? Is there two feuds coming out of this? So is there EC3, Velveteen Dream? Is there going to be Ricochet and Aleister Black? We'll find out on NXT probably tomorrow night. But again, the match is okay. It was a very good NXT match. I think it just was a little bit silly at times, but that's my opinion. I think with the seriousness of the rest of the matches in the night, this was kind of your feel-good moment. We then had Toni Storm and Shayna Baszler. I've not seen a lot of Toni Storm, as I said yesterday. She looked very good tonight from what I saw. The match was very good storytelling. It was all about Shayna Baszler and her hard MMA background, targeting limbs, making sure that she can destroy your ankle within seconds. So she literally did her, similar to what she did to Dakota Kai, where she stamped on her arm and then was out with an injury, whether it was real or not. But she did the same, but with Toni Storm's foot. But she did it so that it looked like her foot was like that, and then just stamped on it. It looks horrible. And Shayna Baszler was just trying to do everything she could to win the match. Toni Storm did come back many, many times. She did a nice roll-up bridge pin to Baszler after she did her air raid crash, which she did on her injured leg from what happened earlier, and all the attacks she got from it, which just shows the storytelling element of it, which was very, very good. Baszler gets her into her submission clutch. I can never remember what it's called. Not longer after that, she kicks out. Somehow Storm got out of it. I thought that was it, match over. And she somehow scraped to the ropes, got out of the ring. Shayna Baszler put it on her again while outside the ring, pretty much knocked her out, then got back into the ring and won via a count out, which false finish, but not botched finish, but you know what I mean, kind of standard what you get from a house show. If you look back to the Greatest Royal Rumble, it's that kind of ending that you get there. But a lot of people on Twitter want to see more of Shayna Baszler and Toni Storm. I don't personally think we'll see it at the moment because of this thing with Nikki Cross. Maybe Nikki Cross needs a bit more time with Shayna Baszler before. I don't know. He just proved that with little build up and little information about Tony Storm, if you've never seen it before, to then go and make a story in a match with very little build up, it's just credit to the writers at NXT. It was very good. And then after the match, Baszler attacked her, put her in the hold that she does, but into a driver and then into the hold, which was nice. Don't think I've seen that yet. And then we went into the main event, and this was a very, very good match. Topped off the 2 nights very, very well. I didn't mind who won this match, but I do really, really like Pete Dunne more. So I kind of rooted for him a little bit. But even if Zach Gibson would have won, he has showed over the 2 nights that he's a very, very good wrestler, very good heel. Just great in-ring submission, technical wrestler, as well as doing nice moves. As I said earlier, because he had new side plates, I thought he was going to lose. There was one point where Gibson did a suplex, and it looked like he just held one arm of Pete Dunne. So it looked like he'd flipped him over with one arm, and it looked a bit weird. I need to probably go and see that bit again and see if that's actually what happened, but I don't think it was. The crowd were hating massively on Gibson. So as we did last night, lots of Scouse references, lots of we stand up if you hate Gibson, sit down if you hate Gibson, clap your hands if you hate Gibson. And then we had probably the most innovative and most ridiculous chant of the night, which was take your shoes off if you hate Gibson. And there's literally just a sea of the crowd with their shoes in the air, and it's just wrestling. That's all I can say, wrestling. Dunn did a nice little double stomp, and it looked like he got him in the face, which was horrible. There was an X-Flex on the ramp. Both men at one point were headbutting each other in the ring while trying to manipulate their joints like he does, where he pulls the fingers apart. It was just absolutely brutal, hard-hitting, British strong-style match, which is what we want to see, because Pete Dunne's brought it over from the UK to the NXT, and you've seen a little bit with Tyler Bate, Mustache Mountain, and now we've seen it with Zach Gibson, his Scouse style. So it is very good to have a match where both of them are really hitting hard. Gibson kicked out of the bitter end about halfway through the match, and I realised I don't think I'd ever seen anybody kick out of it in an NXT or WWE ring. Maybe Tyler Bate did it ages ago, but I don't remember anybody kicking out of it. He then, after he kicked out of that later on, did a middle rope Ticket to Ride, which looked horrific. And the selling from Pete Dunne was very good. He went straight into a Shankly Gates submission move. Pete Dunne looked like he was about to tap out. And he didn't. He somehow got to the ropes. During all of this, Nigel McGuinness is going absolutely crazy. You can hear him screaming and shouting, and he must have been at one point out of his seat because the crowd started chanting, sit down, Nigel, or something like that, which British crowds are brilliant for noticing very little things and just making something happen out of it. We had an avalanche helter-skelter, another Shankly Gates in the middle of the ring. It was probably the most amazing match of the night and of the two days. We had the usual finger snap spot where he takes both fingers and snaps them and makes that horrible noise. It makes me cringe every time I hear it. He then went into a forearm, then into a bitter end, and retained his title. And that man is just on fire. Everything that he's done in an NXT ring or in WWE has been very, very good. I'm just glad that I had the chance to meet the man because he's an incredible wrestler. We then finished the night with all the roster coming onto the stage. Triple H pretty much just said, "Look, this is your brand. This is your time to the roster. This is your NXT." And pretty much just dropped the mic, and that was it. as I said right at the start of this review, everything that Triple H touches turns to gold, and creatively he can't do anything wrong. You've seen what he can do with NXT takeovers. Shawn Michaels is a massive part of it as well. Shawn Michaels came over with him. He's obviously been involved because some of the writing and some of the storytelling from his matches show that they're very, very good. And if this is where British wrestling is going to take a massive centre stage because of the help of Triple H and WWE, can't wait for it, really. Getting excited, really saving up this money so I can go and watch one of the tapings in Cambridge. It's going to have to happen. If I don't go now, I don't think I'll ever get the chance. So keep an eye out for that and all the other things happening with the NXT UK brand, because I think it's going to kick off and go up. It's just going to skyrocket. But that's it from me from tonight. Thank you very much for all your support on the Twitter at Bad Bookers Wrestling Podcast or Bad Bookers WP. I've been Smoothman, the host of the podcast. Please make sure you give us a like rating on the YouTube channel. Subscribe as well. If you want to see more of my lovely face on some of these reviews in the future, let us know. If you don't, tell us as well, because it's a bit weird. Thank you very much for watching. Good night.